Happy Tuesday, and we have a returning guest of the show. Of course, last week, as you know, I had his lawyer on my show, and we have Eric, of course, the inmate from the ACI, at the maximum security. I just went by the maximum security the other day with my daughter, actually, and I pointed that I went by, the prison where you're at, and I was just saying, like, you could see the Swarovski from your cell, huh?
Yeah, yes. Good morning. Happy Tuesday, everybody.
Yes,
Yeah,
welcome
you can
back.
see it like from where. Yeah, I can actually see the main avenue. As people ride by, a lot of people beep or flash their lights and stuff like that when they ride by. So I get I get a view of the street. So yeah, I'm right across the street from Swarovski Crystal on
Sure.
Pontiac Avenue.
So
Yep.
so I went to court last week, and I met one of your friends, Tara,
Yeah, Tara. Yep.
and
Yeah.
she is very educated. I'm going to interview her in the next couple of. Well, I did interview her. I had her on my show with your lawyer. Your lawyer is very nice, by the way, too.
My lawyer went on. Oh, my lawyer came on the show.
Yeah, I interviewed him the day I went to court. So tell me what happened. You didn't see the judge that day, right?
Well, I was downstairs, and I was kind of shocked they didn't bring me upstairs. And he came down, he BM talked, he told me he met you, and he ended up coming back downstairs. I thought we was going upstairs. He ended up coming back upstairs. He said, "Yeah, Rika couldn't make it because her car wouldn't start. I think there's a battery. She had a faulty battery or something.
Right. She was getting.
Probably got that. Yeah, the car wouldn't start. So, but he said, yeah, Derek's upstairs. I met Derek and I met Tara. He's like, yeah, they're all up there. I said, all right. And he says, we're coming back on May 10th. They want to have a hearing with witnesses. He should be coming up here within the next few days. Probably today. I should expect him this morning. He should be coming up this morning, this afternoon, so me and him can have a meeting and start getting prepared for the hearing on May 10th. And I've faced, I don't know if you heard some of the stuff that's going on, but I've been facing a lot of retaliation, like I've been telling you, because this situation between me and this judge that I filed a civil action against, and he still continued to preside over my case even after I filed a civil action against him. And it's at the end of the day, it's like, when does the conviction up? When does the conflict of interest raise to the level of where they have to step off my, like they have to vacate my conviction based on it? It's because the improprieties of it alone, and now it's been deep-seated. Remember, I told you I had a parole hearing last year. I was never even brought before the parole board. I was denied parole. I wasn't even given a chance to go before the parole board. So all these things, that's why I'm still in maximum security with my points. My instrument score level for security is minimum security, but
Right.
I'm still in maximum security.
That doesn't make sense.
There's a lot. Huh?
It doesn't make sense. It's like
there's a lot of things that doesn't make sense. Yeah, and there's a lot of stuff that I've been going through that people don't understand. And these are some of the things that I am going to put on the record on May 10th in front of Judge Procaccini, because I heard he asked the question as to why does Eric think that I'm gonna lower and reduce his sentence. I got a letter from him, from my last lawyer, that he's clearly indicated that he wanted to reduce my sentence. So I gave the letter to Carl, my attorney Carl, my present attorney. I gave it to him. He presented it to Procaccini and to the judge and to Judge Procaccini, and then now we come back now, and it's like he's like saying, well, why does everything? He's thinking that the other judge went lenient on me. So he told me in the letter that my last lawyer wrote me, to go back and see the other judge that I sued, that I filed a civil action against him, that did my actual, that actually adjudicated me. So I'm saying, hold on. At the end of the day, how am I going to go back in front of a judge that I filed a civil action against that I know don't like me, and I know that he has some type of bias against me? Why is he going to give me anything off my sentence or do anything for my sentence? And that's the only way that Judge Procaccini said he's willing to lower my violation time. Because I'm serving two sentences. I'm serving a probation violation sentence from a charge that I told you when I was 19 years old.
Right.
That I caught when I was 19 years old. And they gave me so much probation And, there's studies that came out after he sentenced me. A year or two after Procaccini gave me, I took it to a violation hearing, and he removed the rest of the suspended sentence and told me to serve the entire sentence. Then I still had charges pending. Well, what I was violating for, the charges were dismissed, and then I went in front of this other judge, and he gave 8 years. That's the judge that I filed a civil action against. He said he's not going to run the time with the time that Procaccini gave me because it wasn't his sentence, and he didn't care. That it didn't have nothing to do with him. He's going to run it consecutive. That's how I ended up with 24 years. So my whole thing is that there were some things that transpired in between. It was the cause of me filing the lawsuit against Procaccini. And I'm sorry, against Judge Krause. There were some things that occurred. So as a result, my appellate attorney, because I was on appeal at the time for the violation sentence, my appellate attorney, she sabotaged my appeal.
Right.
So she didn't submit the transcripts, and she removed one of my main issues that would have gave me that would have vacated and reversed my violation sentence. She took the issue out of. She removed the issue. She decided not to argue the issue. They never even told me anything. She never submitted any transcripts to the Rhode Island Supreme Court to review. And even in the decision, it says any defendant knowing that doing an appeal is without transcripts is detrimental to the appeal. She purposefully sabotaged my appeal. So these are all the little retaliatory things that's been going on with me from I've been dealing with it for years, you know what I mean? And I've been fighting this stuff by myself mainly, and my family, they don't know which way to turn. I have the most legal mind out of everybody in my family. So it's like nobody knows where to turn. So I've been battling it out with these people for so many years, and it's like it's just one thing after another. So now Procaccini thinks that Judge Krause went easy on me. Judge Krause gave me a 25-year sentence with 8 to serve, 17 years suspended probation. That's not going easy on somebody. So altogether, if you look at it, I'm serving a 41-year sentence with 24 years served in prison. You know what I mean? And who went easy on me? Nobody gets that type of time for the crime, for a robbery or anything of that such, with nobody being hurt, nobody went to the hospital, nobody was stabbed, nothing happened to any person involved in a crime. So this is what guys get for manslaughter in the state of Rhode Island. You get 30 years for manslaughter here. So how is it that I'm serving all of this time? I'm serving 24 years. I know guys in here that are walking around with second-degree murders that's doing 30 years or 25 years. Why am I serving this much time?
Exactly.
So this is some of the things that I'm going to this is some of the things that I'm going to ask Judge Procaccini on the 10th. Like, am I paying for the crimes that I committed when I was 19 years old? Because if that's the case, then there's studies that came out that shows that 13 blacks, 6 Hispanics. I got all the studies on it that I gave to Carl to give to the judge to show that, when I came in, there's been a disparity in sentences amongst minorities in the state of Rhode Island. We had the 3rd highest probation rate in the nation. You know what I mean? And it's just like, it's called the jail trap, and I fell into that trap.
It's too bad you can't go to the governor. It's too bad you can't go to the governor of the state of Rhode Island.
Yeah. You said it. I'm sorry, I didn't hear that last part. Your phone broke up a little bit. What you say? Did you be what about the governor? I just heard governor.
It's too bad you can't you can't write a letter to the governor of the state of Rhode Island or even the attorney general. Or somebody higher than the judge. You know what I'm saying? Because the governor could give pardons of the state of Rhode Island, right? Because the president could give pardons in the United States. Could the governor give you a?
Well, see, in the state of Rhode Island, the only way to get a pardon in the state of Rhode Island, it has to be the way it's written in the Rhode Island Constitution. It has to be cleared by the Senate and it has to be cleared by the House. I've never seen anyone in the state of Rhode Island get a pardon ever. Since I've looked for cases, it probably happened back in the 1800s or maybe the early 1900s, but in this last probably like 3 or 4 or 5 decades, I've never seen anyone be pardoned because they made it to where that the governor can't just pardon anyone on his own. It has to be through the state. There has to be a vote from the legislators and as well as the governor. So they tied the governor's hands in that instance of giving pardons. My thing is, it's not a pardon. My thing is I'm looking for. I'm just looking for. I'm not asking for nothing out of the ordinary, Derek. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not asking for somebody to create law or give me different preferential treatment. I'm coming into court with case law. I'm coming into court with statistics, with facts. why not rule on the law? I'm just asking you to rule on what the law calls for. Don't use some type of retaliatory animosity towards me to say I'm going to deny this guy because I don't like him. Or no, I'm asking you to rule on the law. That's all I am. 2 plus 2 equals 4. I'm not asking for anything more than that. You know what
exactly.
I mean? It's only fair that listen, in this instant, Judge Krause that gave me the 8 years, he should have never been he should have never presided over my case once I filed a civil action against him. There's United States Supreme Court cases, there's United States First Circuit cases, there's district court cases out of Rhode Island District Court, U.S. District Court downtown, there's Rhode Island Supreme Court cases that says it. Even Rhode Island Superior Court judges have written opinions on it, and it's in their judicial code of conduct, Article 5, I think it is, Section 211, that a judge, even at a shall, if the impropriety of a judge is called into question on any case, the judge shall recuse himself. And in this state, they said the word disqualified and recusal is interchangeable. So he was disqualified, and he should have recused himself from my case. He should have never presided over my case as a judge. But what he did was they try to sweep it underneath the rug, and still he the guy doesn't like me. The guy told another lawyer that I was the devil. You know what I mean? Like he so this is some of the things that hopefully will come out during the hearing next month on the 10th. You know, these are some of the things that I'm praying that, you know, that it should come out from other lawyers that he said this in front of. So what happened was I was going to testify on behalf of a friend of mine in a post-conviction, and Judge Krause heard that, seen my name. The case was assigned to him. He seen my name on the witness list and said, oh, I have to recuse myself. I have a conflict of interest with Mr. Newville because he sued me and because I don't think he's credible. And then he just went on, he's the devil and all of this other stuff. But my point being is, well, if you're recusing yourself off of somebody else's case based on me, then why didn't you recuse yourself off my case when you was presided over my case? You know what I mean? Like, does that make any sense?
Right. So
and this is what's cool.
So what time's the hearing on May 10th?
I'm sorry, you said what? You said what time's the hearing?
Yes, correct.
Oh, I don't know. That's Derek usually tells me. Like, I knew it was at 11 this week. Derek, I'm sorry, I was saying Derek. Yeah. Carl usually tells me. Carl usually tells me what time the hearings are. You know, what time the hearings start. So I really want as many people there so they can witness this and see what's going on. Because, like I said, 2 plus 2 is 4. In this instant, I'm not asking you to pull a rabbit out the hat, Judge. And then once we deal with the sentence should be vacated. All right. Now that leaves me to 16 years. I got 3 years left to flatten the 16 years with the sentence that Judge Procaccini gave me.
Right.
If Judge Procaccini now wants to look at the statistical review, look at my behavior in prison, the fact that I rehabilitated. He recognized this, and he told my last attorney, he says, I appreciate Eric's taking the steps to rehabilitate. That's why I will consider and I will want to reduce his sentence, but I feel like my hands are tied because of Krause's sentence.
Right.
So if he's willing to come back now, and willing to look at his sentence, you know, and look at all the statistics and all the other factors, then, you know, that will be fairness. Because remember, he's the one that's calling for the Second Look Act for guys to be given a second look after their sentence, after 10 years of being incarcerated. I've been incarcerated 9.5, and I'm serving a violation sentence.
Right.
You know, so they just introduced Rhode Island House Bill 6193, and you know, if you want, you could go. Anybody out there could go on Facebook, or they could. Go on the Rhode Island Judiciary website and look up, or just Google House Bill 6193, and they'll see what the Second Look Act is. And it's because of Judge Procaccini, just in February, asked that. He said his hands were tied. He wanted to give a guy a sentence reduction because the guy was known for murder since he was about 19 or 20 years old. And he said, this guy has changed. If anybody qualifies for a sentence reduction, I will give it to this guy. And he looked at all the statistics. He looked at the fact that this guy did all he had to do in prison to rehabilitate. And, you know, he said, but my hands are tied. In this instant, his hands are not tied with me. He has the ability to reduce his own sentence. You know what I mean? And
right.
So this is what it comes down to. So it just doesn't make any sense that you're calling for the legislators to pass a law that will untie your hands. But in my instance, your hands are not tied. And I hope that you will look at my sentence and say, look, this guy, that's why I had Senator De Palma write me he's writing me a letter to give to Procaccini to say, look, this is all the things this guy's been doing in prison. He has took the steps to rehabilitate. Because if rehabilitation is not the case, then right there, then what are we doing here? Is this punishment?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, I've been incarcerated 9.5 years. My children are, my daughter's 10, my son's 19, my son will be 19 in August. I'm just sitting, I'm being warehoused here. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm fighting with the Department of Corrections, writing a letter to the Department of Corrections, the Attorney General, and the Governor saying, give me vocational training so that way I can better prepare myself so that way I don't have to recidivate or come back into prison once I'm released. These are things that I'm raising. You know what I mean? And it just seems so like that's somebody that's looking to be rehabilitated. Or
right.
somebody that has rehabilitated that's looking towards the future here. So.
By the way, when's the last time you saw your kids? By the way, this year.
You said what? I'm sorry. You said what?
When's the last time you saw your son and your daughter? If you can refresh my memory.
My daughter. She lives with her aunt in Providence, and she just turned 10 in February. Her name is Embrace.
And when's the last time she came to visit you, your children?
Well, I don't like her coming up here because she's I don't want her to see me in this environment. She came up here when she was younger, but now that she's older, she knows where I'm at. She knows I explain to her. I talk to her on a regular basis, but I just haven't had her come in. My son, I haven't had him come in, but I speak with him. I haven't talked to him in a little while because he's at that stage where he's still mad. He's kind of mad at me. You know what I'm saying? And I know I'm not there because he's growing up. He's trying to he's trying to find his way in the world as a man. But he's me and him used to communicate, and he just he's angry. He's mad that his father's incarcerated, and he doesn't seem to understand why all of these years that his father. And I try to explain to him when he used to come up here. I'm glad he's working. He's not a street kid. He's doing good and stuff like that. But he has that resentment that he feels like I kind of abandoned him. And in a way, he's right. And I apologized to him many times. I had to start. I faced it head on and had a talking with him and told him, look, this is the circumstances. These are the things that are going on, and
but the thing is, abandonment. He can't. I mean, I get it. And you get it. But the thing is, at least they know. Like, you reach out to them. How often do you call your kids on a weekly basis?
Well, I just talked to my daughter yesterday. I talked to her on a I just talked to her. Yeah, I call her aunt. I call directly on a cell phone her aunt. So I talked to my daughter and my son. He's like, I gotta hit him up on Facebook. Like I said, he's grown now. He's 18.
You have 1 minute left.
He just feels like,
Right.
Well, me and him have to have that talk. I reached out to him a few months ago. I wanted him to. He said he would come to my court date, but this was probably last year sometime that
sure.
I had the date set up. He said whenever it is, just let him know he'll come.
Well, I'll pray that things will work out for that. Well, thank you for joining us today, Mr. Eric, and we'll have you on either later this week or next week. Okay.
All right, definitely. Everybody have a good day out there. You too. Have a good day, and I'll be looking forward to talking to you. I'll have Rika text you later on, and I'll shoot you a text.
Okay,
right?
Will do.
Great day. Tell the kids I said hello.
Thank you.
And you too have a blessed day.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
Mr. Eric over here, D Shap in the morning. We'll do entertainment news next here. D Shap in the morning.